Hello, dear chess friends. My name is Eugene Grinis. Welcome to the Eugene Grinis free chess school, open for everyone who want to improve own game. Today I would like to show you the first part of my video from the series Opening Catastrophes. No game is lost without a mistake, seeing made, be it a blunder or a slight inaccuracy, an error in the calculation of a variation or in the assessment of a position. In chess, as in life, you have to pay for your mistakes. And as in life, the more serious mistake, the more severe the retribution. A positional mistake in the opening can lead to a swift catastrophe, if it is of a very serious nature. But the direct catastrophe follows as a result of combinational play, which takes place in a situation clearly unfavorable for one of the sides. The retribution for positional mistakes does not normally follow immediately. It is different matter with tactical mistakes. Today we begin with a new study of the Sicilian Defense. The Sicilian Defense is the most popular response of black to white's move e4. Black responds with c5. In the Sicilian there are a large number of complex variations. Dragon, closed, Marozzi bind, Najdorf, Paulsen, Richterhausen, Rossalima, Scheveningen, Sveshnikov variation, Sozin attack, Boleslavsky, and so on. Each of these so-called variations or systems constitute in fact their own distinct opening. And there are a huge number of theoretical forced lines that the player has to memorize when he plays for or against these Sicilian defenses. One way to bypass the theoretical complexities when playing white is to deploy the rather popular Alapin Variation. White plays after e4, c5, c3, with the idea that after d4 he can build a strong pawn center. The Alapin has been called anti-Sicilian, as white need not to play knight f3 and d4 as in the other Sicilians, which spawns thousands of lines, but a simple c3. The Alapin is criticized by some because the c3 pawn hinders the b1 knight's natural development. But nowadays white has learned to overcome this, and in many variations the knight can exit to a3 with strong threats. Though, in summary, the Alapin is ideal for those players who do not have time to study plenty of theoretical analysis of the Sicilian defenses, but wants to fight against the Sicilian defense with a simple system that requires much less study. The main reason people play the c3 Sicilian is because it doesn't take much time to learn. The Alapin is a potent response for white to the Sicilian defense, and moreover it is very reliable, since black has fewer chances to win the game, since most available lines in the Alapin are better for white or give white a good chance of a draw. Black has only two good replies to c3. d5 and knight f6. There are, however, other options open to black, such as e6, queen a5, b6, allowing white to build pawn center, e4, d4, or d6, also allowing white central control before attacking him, or g6 with the same ideas. These options, though, are less popular. The Alapin is by far easier to master by white than the other Sicilian defenses. No need to remember many theoretical lines by heart, though less need to spend as much time as in the other systems of the Sicilian defense. Black need to spend a lot of time learning the basic options after knight f3 and d4, though they may well prepare less for games against the Alapin. As a consequence, they will not be as well aware of how to properly respond to the Alapin. In the Alapin there are two positional challenges that are often encountered and need consideration. 1. Isolated queen's pawn. 2. Advanced white pawn on e5. Though there's not too much to study, and the theory of the Alapin is not developing so fast. No such regular, stunning innovations that refute all previous study, rendering many hours of preparation worthless, and constantly having to be on guard for breaking news. In the Alapin, this is not so. The theory develops fairly slowly, though significant developments in the theory rarely happens, and there is no need for everyday review of the theoretical trends, and the price of not knowing a new move will normally be pretty minimal. The first game for today was played 2000 in Dortmund, Germany. Martin zum Sande, Elo 2360, with white against a slightly stronger Thomas Henrichs, Elo 2449, both from Germany. In this game, the defeat came as a result of the overlooking of the concluding tactical strike. The game starts e4, c5, c3, knight f6. This is one of black's two main defenses, the other being d5. As in the Alapin defense, the black knight attacks pawn e4. Now white can defend with knight c3, since this square is occupied by a pawn. e5. White gains time and space at the cost of weakening his control over the important d5 square in the center. In particular, he can't obtain the perfect pawn center d4, e4 anymore. Knight d5. d4. This is white's most direct approach. Even though he can't get his perfect center anymore, there are benefits to having a pawn on d4. It supports the e5 pawn, and by encouraging exchanges frees the c3 square. Black often takes on d4. In practice, this is pretty automatic. Other continuations give white the opportunity to chase the knight with c4 and d5. White played knight f3. No need to immediately take on d4 with c3 or the queen. Knight f3 pins the d4 pawn, preventing it taking on c3. Otherwise, queen takes knight. Black plays e6, protects the knight, and renews d4 takes c3 threat. Also possible, knight c6, c takes d, d6. e6, white takes c takes d. The main continuation. There is also an opportunity to take with the queen on d4. Knight c6, queen e4. This is a quite reliable option for white. If white plays against a stronger opponent, this is sound, since although black can gain equality, the position becomes equally balanced and the game drawish. C takes d. d6. Immediately attacking the e5 pawn, while freeing the d7 square for either a knight or a bishop. Important alternative is b6. Black wants to bring bishop to b7. In this game, d6 was played. White replied bishop c4. White develops bishop on an aggressive square and prepares to castle. Another important line is a3, preparing bishop d3 without allowing the annoying knight b4 with unpleasant attack on bishop. Bishop c4 was played. Continues knight b6, attacking the bishop. Black knight leaves d5 while attacking the white bishop. White has two choices: bishop d3 as in the game, or bishop b3. Or knight c6, leaving knight d5 in the center. Knight c6 would exert more pressure on e5 pawn. Bishop takes on d5, loses white's strong bishop for a knight, and then e takes d unleashes black's c8 bishop, and black is okay. Knight b6 was played, bishop d3, knight c6, a3, defending himself against knight b4. Maybe castling. Knight b4. White has a slight advantage. Another response available to white after knight c6 was e takes d6. Bishop takes d6, castling, with a sharp position, leaving isolated d4 pawn for white. A3 was played. D takes e, d takes e. Knight d7. good move. Black knights attack the positionally crucial e5 pawn. Bishop b5, pinning black knights. Bishop f4, knight c5 is too beneficial to black. Bishop b5 was played. Queen a5 check. The opening commandment runs: first develop the minor pieces and then the major pieces. But black decides that in this particular situation the queen move is advantageous to him. Knight c3. In this position, black played bishop b4, thinking the a3 pawn pinned, and with the white knight c3 in an absolute pin, queen takes bishop was a mere formality. A tactical mistake is normally punished immediately. Tactical mistakes are of two types: oversights and miscalculation. In the first case, a direct combinational threat goes unnoticed. This is so-called passive oversight. The threat is simply overlooked. It can also happen that there is no threat at all, but that an unfavorable combinational situation is created by one's own poor move. This is so-called active oversight. The player himself creates the unfavorable combinational situation. In this case, a combination where the opponent goes unnoticed during the calculation of variation. Black here had fatally miscalculated. White played a takes b4. Queen takes rook. Black wins exchange. By what of the queen's future? The queen has no squares. Castling. The game continued. Knight takes on b4. If castling, then queen b3, knight d takes on e5, bishop e3, knight takes knight check, pawn takes knight. Black should give up the queen. Queen takes rook, check, king takes queen, and white wins with an extra bishop. Another try for black to save the queen. a5. Queen d6, stopping black castling. A takes b4, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, bishop g5, threat of mate on e7, and attacking queen with a rook. f6, e takes f, same threat of mate on e7. If knight takes pawn, then rook takes queen, rook takes rook, check, knight d1, retreating the knight to block check. With queen's support, white has extra knight. If g takes f, queen takes pawn check, king d8. If king f8, then what? Bishop h6 mate. King d8, bishop takes f6, check, knight takes bishop, queen takes knight, check, king c7, here knight b5 check, pawn takes knight, queen takes rook, queen a2, rook c1 check, king b6, queen f6 check, king a5, queen c6, rook b8, queen c7 check, rook b6, knight e5, queen takes pawn, rook d1, queen b3, knight c6 check, king a4. If king a6, then what? Queen a7 mate. King a4. And what now? Rook a1. Check. White wins the game, taking the queen, then the rook. In the game was played knight takes pawn on b4. queen d6, and in this position black resigned. Possible was queen a5, bishop g5, f6, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, queen takes e6 check, king d8. If king f8, then what? Bishop h6 mate. King d8, rook d1, knight c6, bishop takes pawn check, king c7, queen d6 check, king b6, bishop d4 check, knight c5, and bishop takes knight mate. Okay, that's the lesson for today from the Eugene Grinis Chess School. I hope it was useful and you enjoyed it. If so, push likes, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please leave comments. Also, you are welcome to set this video to either your own YouTube channel, it happens automatically when pushing likes, or to the social networks such as Facebook. Please visit my website grinis.de, where you'll find thousands of useful games. And like in my other videos, all the useful links to the pages of Eugene Grinis Chess School you can find in description below the video. Spread the description to see all of them. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.